I'm gonna
I've not used this before, so I'm just trying it out.
Hey man, it's been too long since we sat down and that just feels wrong. Allow me to give my head a shake, open my eyes and fix a mistake. Do you wanna come over? Just like the old times, we'll hit pause and then hit a rewind. You wanna come over? Just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly. Hey buddy, no strangers here. These times I hold them dear. My door's open, so come on in. This was great, let's do it again. Do you wanna come over? Just like the old times, we'll hit pause and then hit rewind. You wanna come over? Just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly. Do you wanna come over? Just like the old times, we'll hit pause and then hit rewind. You wanna come over? Just like the old days, and we'll watch the time just fly.
Gazz, how are you, buddy? Well, Hanz is in the bathroom. I'll let you know. He's back. I hope you shook. I'm back in the location, Gazz, where we first did our very first shoot the shit, and the power went out.
Doesn't happen. I think we'll see you later.
Well, now you've got a wingman just in case I do have to pop out because of the unfortunate nature of the beast being where we are. But be back, fellas. Gazz, this was your idea. Do you want to walk us through your original idea for this stream?
The original idea is just to have a discussion about life beyond Earth. Is there any? Just talk about it. Are we the only ones here?
on Earth.
Well, that's
Not on Earth, but like in the universe. I mean, there are billions and billions and billions of stars out there, just like ours, with planetoids.
well. Before we dive into it, Gazz, two things. Number one, I mean, Earth is already filled with so much different life that we often forget that there is so much intricate life out here already. But we'll get into that. We'll say hi to the chat, and then maybe we'll kick off with a little bit of Hanz Chow Joe Fest if he wants to tell us how that went. We'll say hi to Steven, who's here, Beta Ray Bob, and our boy Pericles Dragon Ball Z. If you are new and have never seen one of our shows before, we sometimes do comic books, we sometimes do movies. Usually we just shoot the shit. And today is one of those ones that may or may not include comic books or movies, but we're going to talk at least a little bit about comic books, movies, or action figures with Hanz Chow's rendition of his a trip to Joe Fest, which we missed, guys. But we'll be back next week. No, next year.
Joe Fest next week, but
Next week? What? Already?
I mean, it could be before you know it.
I'm not prepared.
who really ever is prepared? Yeah, so I went to Joe Fest this year. I had an amazing time. You guys weren't around. Matt wasn't around. None of the usual suspects, with the exception of Ken, was really around. And everybody who was kind of around was working at the Delta 17 booth. So I got a lot, like many opportunities to interact with people who I just wouldn't interact with, which is great. I got to hang around people who I never really talked to, and I learned a lot of stuff from a lot of people about a lot of things, and it kind of broadened my horizon and my perspective on not only the collecting but how things work. And funny enough, those little interactions. So White Vegeta, for example, I spoke to him and hung around him quite a bit. He actually helped me find a figure I was looking for, which is the Don Moreno, which you showed on the last show that we had. I couldn't find one anywhere in there, and he was like, "Oh, well, I have a few, so you can buy one off of me." And I was like, "Yes, please." So I ended up buying one off of him, which was great, as well as a polar bear. because I didn't really want the Snake Eyes polar bear. I just really wanted the polar bear, and he sold me a polar bear too, just by itself for like a reasonable
Oh,
price.
nice.
So I was happy about that. I didn't buy much this year with regards to toys, but I bought a lot of books. There's a fantastic author who was there last year, and she was there again this year. And I bought both of her books this year. 1 second.
So hi to Ari real quick while you're up stretching. I think he just wants to show off his abs. How are you, Ari? Good to see you, buddy.
So Helenthea, the Helenthea. I would say trilogy was actually 4 books, but she's only finished these 2, so the Epic and the Oracle of Helenthea. I read the full Epic. It gets a little ushy-gushy around certain parts for me, but you know what? It's a fun read. Looking forward to reading the other one, and she's supposed to finish the other 2 by next year, so I'm holding her to that one. It's also nice to meet a lot more like creative people. So I put a lot of my finances towards things like finally getting a sketch from Larry Hamill. But I feel so sorry for him. He came in on Friday. I booked the sketch on Friday, but he wasn't feeling well on Saturday, so he wasn't actually at his table. So what happened is on Sunday when I came back to get the sketch, he's there and he's belting out sketches, just like rah, and it's just incredible to see that even at his age, he's still like so fast and proficient as an artist. Robert Atkins is also one of the guys I tried to get a sketch from, but he was really busy. So I was like, oh, don't worry about it. I won't bother you to give me one, to buy one from you. But I did do a sketch for him, which is a Snake Eyes. I gave it to him. And he saw this sketch, and I assume he was like, oh, that's cool. And the last day, like the last hour, he he handed me.
Look at Sarge.
Yeah, Sarge is on the stream. Addies, absies.
He handed me this, right?
Ooh.
Hang on a sec. My old man eyes are struggling.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Look
Yes.
at that.
And he said he said he didn't have time to finish the sketch, but he said he thought we could do a collaboration. So you can't really tell, but he said he said he did it loose, and if I could ink it and color it, and like I can't wait, but I'm also like petrified because
Yeah, that's a big responsibility.
see-
If anyone can do it, you can,
Yeah.
Hans.
you can't see how good this is, though. You really can't see how nice this looks. But I'm scared to damage it with my garbage. But I'm gonna give it a shot within the near future, and hopefully
Damn
I
it,
do it
damage
some
it
kind
with
of
his
justice.
garbage. What is he talking about?
Well, he's like a proper professional. But like it's nice always to see somebody else's it's always nice to see somebody else's work and then to get the opportunity to work over it. So I met a new guy at Joe Fest, and this is the one story that I have to share this because I think it needs to live on forever, which is Night Force, G.I. Joe Night Force, the O-Ring Night Force series, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those figures are very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
Last time I checked, yeah.
Mhm.
I met a guy named Matt Davis who came to Joe Fest. He hasn't been for about 3 years, but he had a full set of Night Force figures, and he was selling them off to Joe Ricondo and John Major and all these different guys, right? So he was selling his Falcon, his Night Force Falcon, to John Major. And when he was doing it, he had them all complete in little bags and stuff. And when he gave it to John, the knife was missing. So the knife of the Falcon, Falcon has like a little knife. It was
Yeah.
missing.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I think he was selling the figure for a fair amount of money, but he felt so bad that he lost the knife. He cut the price down by 2/3, and he was in the hotel looking for the knife. And you know how big the Marriott is. So
Yeah.
he'd searched it 1, 2, 3 times, and I was like, well, let's go look a 4th time. And he's like, I already checked 3 times, and I was like, one more time. Whatever. So we're there, and you know how it is after the convention. People are selling figures and all sorts of stuff all over the place. So we're there and we're looking under things, and it's kind of a dark red carpet, and the knife itself is like a dark brown, so it's really hard to kind of see. And there's this one guy who walked past, and he's like, he's a Joe Fest guy, and he's like, what are you guys looking for? And he's like, we dropped a Night Force Falcon knife. And he's like, you got a better chance of winning the lottery than finding that, man. And walks off, right? And then so we're walking up and down, and there's this little kid with a big Thanos glove, and his mom is there, and she's like, and she's seeing us like down on the carpet looking for things. She's like, what are you guys looking for? It's like, we're looking for a little tiny toy knife. And the little boy starts to look with us too.
Oh, that's nice.
So we're all there looking. And eventually we reach this kind of carpeted area right before you reach the convention area. Usually after the convention, it's where people set up to sell stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we're there and we're looking, and it's kind of depressing, but in my head, and I feel weird saying this, but it's really what happened. I've been praying the whole time. In my head, I'm just like, God, please help me out. And then there, out of the corner of my eye, I see this tiny little piece of brown plastic. It got kicked underneath one of the curtains. So I reached down, and sure enough, it's this little freaking knife. And
I'm going to tell you, I would have been pissed off if this story didn't end.
Yeah, I was like, it better not be just that. Oh well.
And at the end, we just got over it.
We just walked and had a beer.
So I took it up and I presented it to Mr. Davis. And
held
Mr.
up the mighty sword.
Dude, he gave me, like, he's a little shorter than me, but he gave me like the biggest hug. Like, such a little dude generating such force was like, easy buddy, but you're welcome, whatever. And then he puts the knife in like a vice grip between his fingers, and we're walking back to give it to John, and he won't let it go. And as we're walking back, the same guy who was like, you have a better chance of winning the thing, he's like, any luck, boys? And he shows him the knife, and he's like, whoa! Yes! You gotta go play the lottery now, man. We're walking back, and we reach the bar area of the Marriott, and Matt hands off the knife to John, and all the Delta 17 guys are like, I can't believe I found her. And one of the Delta 17 guys just looks at me, big smile, and does this. And then Punk with Toys comes over, and he starts to say, well, what happened? And it's like, oh, well, we lost the knife, and Hanz found the knife. And like in the next 5 minutes, I'm hearing whispers around the bar. Hanz found the knife. Here we are. He found the knife. And I'm just there like, this is pretty cool. So that's like the one story that I think was really nice. But it did take a while to find. So it was about an hour of creeping around on a carpet, looking like we're high on shrooms or something.
Question. Did he lose the knife that day, or was it like, well, obviously he didn't know when he lost the knife, but would he suspect that he lost it the same day, or was it like
he lost it the same day? He had all the Night Force figures. He hadn't found buyers for all of them, so he took it to the swap meet at the end of the convention, and he had them all there, and he lost it. While
imagine like if we were there, Xaz, we don't walk around again. Hey, what's that? Hey, it looks like a falcon knife. then we would have been at the bar. We'd have been at the bar. And then like people are like, hey, what happened? What's going on? Oh man, we just spent like 4 hours looking for a falcon knife, but we couldn't find this little brown piece of plastic. And Xaz was like, little brown piece of plastic? You mean like this one?
This one?
I've been cleaning my teeth with it. You know what? I'm gonna get Hanz to help me find swagger sticks at Joe Fest next year.
Dude, you know what we'll do? Next year we'll hide a swagger stick, and then
well, I don't want to put Hanz to work.
we'll just go. We lost a Sarge swagger stick. It's number 697. We need to find that swagger stick. It's important.
We'll meet you at the bar.
No, that's a great story, Hanz.
Yeah,
that's fantastic.
One unique story that I have. Oh wait, I got one more.
There's another one. Let's go.
So, Joe Fest is growing with regards to attendance every single year. So there's more and more people coming. So therefore, Marriott kind of gets booked out pretty fast. And a lot of us are staying down. Well, even including myself, was staying at the Hyatt House, which is further down the road. And I don't want to name his name here, but we were hanging out and talking an awful lot. And he was like, I saw some really sketchy characters between the Marriott and the Hyatt. So when we walk out there together, is when we walk back, we should walk together. And I said, sure, man, no problem. I didn't really see any sketchy characters. again, I kind of grew up in a country that's full of sketchy characters, so I don't really know. And I told him, he's like, look, man, we'd be able to handle like whatever, between like the two of us, whatever. So we're walking back, we're talking, etc., etc., etc. I kid you not. We've reached right by where Knuckle Sandwich is, right? You know that area.
Yeah.
And there's a dude legitimately doing like kung fu katas, fighting nobody, throwing all kinds of spin kicks and all kinds of crap. And I just kind of look at him and he looks at me and we cross the road and walk around. I was just like, right at the irony of the timing of being like, dude, there's like no sketchy people. And there's this guy like doing Kung Fu Kid in the middle of the whatever. And yeah, that's it.
It's a wild place.
Well, I reckon you could have taken him, Hans. Just do some air
but at the same time, I mean,
That's weird. We don't really. I guess we didn't really see that many crazies. We saw a car crash.
Yeah, yeah. We saw a person turn into a police car.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
That was funny.
That was great.
Not a serious crash, mind you. Anyway, Beta Ray Bob put this out there, and this is a sentiment which I think most of us will agree with. I think it's crazy to assume that in something as big as the galaxy, much less the universe, that humans on Earth are the only intelligent life. Well, intelligence, one way to put it. So here's the thing, right? I saw something recently, and don't just take everything you see online with a grain of salt. I know that. However, I saw this thing online recently where it said that the seeable universe is as wide as as what the inside of a black hole would be. And so, and again, I'm spitballing here. Don't hold me to any of this. Go do your own research. But there was a theory that maybe our universe is within a black hole, and other universes also are within a different black hole, and we're all just. That's why we can't see any further than that, and why it seems to be, I don't know, expanding. I don't know all the answers. In fact, I don't know any of them. Someone who I think would have some of the answers is Nate. The Mars rover found possible fossil evidence of ancient microbial life on Mars. There you go. They have to get the sample back to Earth to confirm, but it's still pretty exciting news. Somehow they'll lose it on the way, and then they'll send Hanz to go find it.
Well, I mean, I think, what is it? Is it Europa? Europa, that the moon that orbits Jupiter. It's a planet of water, and it's covered in ice. You want to drill into it because they believe they're microbial life in the water, obviously, because life is if there's water, there's most likely life.
But how satisfied will we be if they just say yes, we found microbial life? How satisfied will we be?
We'll still be like a number one most intelligent.
Now, don't forget, they also said that there is alien life under the oceans, and confirmed there's UFOs.
UFO bases under the ocean.
Yeah, but see,
why not?
But then where did all that chatter go? Also, scientists somewhere just made the first living, eating, reproducing cell out of a totally inorganic material, proving that life can be made of inorganic materials in the right circumstances.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There you go. Then
it's crazy to think that there's that many stars in this universe, this vast universe of ours, right? Outside of our little galaxy, right? And that they're of those billions and billions of stars, how many of them are like our sun? A lot, because our sun is average, right? It's an average star. So around each one of those stars would be a planetary system, could be a planetary system, and if so, just like our planetary system, the third planet from the sun,
I'm gonna go one step further and say that we aren't actually the first species to live on Earth.
Oh yeah, well definitely.
I'm fairly certain that there have been others, and then Ice Age wiped them out or whatever, and then a billion years passed, and any hint of their civilization just turned to dust. and now maybe another one was built on top of it, evolving on top of that one. Then it turned to dust eventually, and then here we are.
Yeah, but we had other life existed before we did, and we know that through fossils and stuff like the obviously dinosaurs, Ice Age creatures, and Neanderthals, and a whole branch of humanoids that no longer exist.
Mm-hmm.
I would also dare to say and go a little bit further. So there've been like thousands, maybe at this point tens of thousands, UFO sightings and alien encounters and all this sorts of stuff, right? And people are always like, and they disappear on a ship or a sphere or this or that. I kind of think, if I go by H.P. Lovecraft's brain, he says like this thing that's older than time, like man's genetic memory and all that sort of thing. And he's always gone on this principle that the aliens out there are they don't actually exist on our plane, but they exist kind of here and there. And that kind of solves that whole traveling, because I think hang on, I actually looked it up and wrote it down. I think the nearest habitable, at least for us, planet, I think is Proxima Centauri b, which is 4.2 light years away. And for anybody,
is that in Andromeda system, isn't it?
No. Well, I don't know. I just looked up which was closest, and then if anybody wants to know how much a light year is, it's 5,878,625,000,000 miles.
That's a lot,
right? So
how many parsecs is that?
Shorter than the Kessel Run. Anyway,
we can do it then.
We can probably stop there on the way to Joe Fest.
Yes.
but like our biggest problem apparently with traveling at the speed of light, and if any creature that exists only as the matter that we do, is that we contain mass, and mass doesn't work all that well when you go to the speed of light. So I think if the creatures themselves existed on a separate dimension, stepping through the dimensions would make it easier for them to travel from here to there,
Well, they're also talking that warp drive is feasible.
Well,
we just need a Stargate.
Yeah, Stargate,
well, the Stargate principles all work on wormhole technology, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if what Xaz said was even like 2% correct, that we are in fact inside a black hole or something, this wormhole technology is something that we could probably poke around. I do know this much though. It's like, I don't think all of those alien encounters are fake. I think like most of them are actually pretty real. I just wonder to myself always, if, because our brains work the way that we do and we like to develop patterns and all that sort of thing, if we really interpreted what we saw properly. Because as I said, sometimes they see the spaceship disappear or they see the individual disappear, but that could be as easy as that individual stepping from one dimension to a next or something like that. At least that's how I feel,
Maybe that's what Bigfoot does.
Well,
dimensional portals, yes.
There are a lot of theories that Bigfoot is extraterrestrial. And the same could be said about like Yetis and all of that. And as H.P. Lovecraft said, there's our memory, our genetic memory, as well as like everything we know about unassociated cultures establishing, big 10-foot tall hairy dudes or dragons or fishmen or any of that kind of thing. It's occurred constantly without any real prompting from and our civilizations actually meeting. So there's merit in it. We've come to an age now where we've been raised to be kind of skeptics, and I don't know how wise
are we truly being raised to be skeptics though? Because as far as I can remember, and for as long as I can remember, there's always been a very open discussion about the what ifs, like what is out there. Is there more to life? I've never been in an environment where the whole thing has been shut down entirely by anyone, except for you get the odd people who don't believe in any of that happening. But in a larger group or setting, it's always been a good mix of debate, essentially. And Bob's saying here, the real question is, are there any other life forms as developed as humans that have passed the great filter, or have they all become extinct? So, I mean, again, this takes me back to the early humans or humanoids, and we weren't alone as far as what human beings are concerned. We shared the earth with other humanoids, and then there's some debate over it, but it essentially probably wiped them all out.
Most likely.
The interesting thing about like the great filter concept is we all assume. Now, I don't know. I'm not a scientist, but I can only go on. I'm a history teacher, and I do enjoy studying it simply because you tend to see things as cyclical, right? Yeah, no, I agree, Pericles. I would never want to meet anything weird. Anyway, so with regards to how the great filter works, it's not a chance that we are extinct. I think right now humanity is reaching another one of a potential extinction event. Now we have to look at what the word extinction means. What is the extinction of what it means to be human? So we're facing like everybody's AI. Even we're reaching AI right now. Yeah. No, I agree.
Right.
Too. Ghost sightings as alternate dimension beings moving back and forth.
Oh yeah, we'll be talking spiritually sometime in this stream, and I put ghosts somewhere in amongst that conversation when we get there.
So if a species was to evolve their technology to such a point where they didn't have to leave their planet and they can spend all their time basically plugged into a machine, which would provide them with, in essence, like godlike mental powers where they can exist in their own universes and they're only really worried about like just basically having food pumped in through an IV. Exploring the universe and stuff for that particular species would be pointless. They're getting everything they want in kind of a virtual existence. And we're kind of reaching that point right now where people would rather sit down in front of a screen and absorb whatever is being pumped in them through the screen. So the great filter doesn't necessarily involve an extinction event for the species, but I think it might involve an extinction event for that species' desire to expand beyond its own pleasure-seeking center. So there might be many, many very advanced civilizations, but they've lost their pioneering attitude simply because their societies have decided, well, this is all we need and this is all we want, and that's it. They die plugged into a machine. And we're kind of entering there now where everybody's on ChatGPT and this, that, and the other. And the desire to go to Joe Fest, for example, is wasted. They can see, they don't have to go to SDCC. They can see and live it here. And eventually they can plug it into their heads and walk around the convention, even though they're not really there. It's just a robot. But as long as we keep that spirit going and mankind continues to want to reach for the stars and experience new things, I don't know if we'll ever really do that. I mean, for the reality of it, I think that filter might be behind us several times. At least I hope so, because I would love to see, someone go into space to set up a colony. Not me, though. I'm too old now.
Yeah, well, there was that big push to colonize Mars a little while ago, right? And putting in a lottery of people that would go there and not come back.
I believe there's a plan to go to the moon and create a base colony on the moon.
Hey, Josh, how are you, buddy?
But just to throw it out there, I mean, like we're talking about like ancient people. There's the Nazca lines in Peru. Nazca, is that how you say it? Nazca, I think it is. Nazkca. I don't know. They're these symbols that they drew into the ground that you can only see from high altitude or space. I was just throwing it out there. I think like gods and stuff. Not to get all super religious, but I think a lot of that is based off of some sort of beings that may have been here before us. That went away. There's always some sort of truth to that, right? And I think that's what that is. In my mind, they're just not landing symbols, but like tributes to them, right? So they can see them. Yeah, that's what I.
So think about it this way: if you've ever gone camping and there are no lights from cities or anything, you can see the stars.
Oh my God! Yeah.
So the reality is, like those ancient peoples, without the light pollution, and that's the best word I could think of, they may have been able to see and communicate with things that may have been otherworldly, and they'd be more than willing to speak to us on a. So as a teacher, right, it always a good teacher teaches their students, and a good student teaches their teacher. I can imagine extraterrestrial beings looking at Earth as almost like, look at these people. They're primitive in their ways, but they're so eager to learn. And to teach them would be our obligation. It would be our honor to do so. And as mankind became more and more prideful and more knowledgeable, the aliens became frightened of what they had taught. And now they stick around to kind of observe what they had done. But the ones who were benevolent before, maybe not so much. Maybe they were worried about what they've done, because it's like, if I go and I teach my child how to use fire, for example, I can't guarantee my child won't be destructive with the fire, but it would seem fairly innocent at the time. Oh, you can use fire to cook things, you can use fire to keep warm, but I can also use fire to start a war. It's like, no, it's just, oh man, and then fire. But yeah, that light pollution thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. What you think you can see versus like if in just regular city life, right? You look outside, look up in the sky, and you're like, oh, that's beautiful. And then the difference between what you see there and what you see in the middle of nowhere, and like you said, opens up almost the entire universe for you to see. How much more is there that we don't see, or we're not opening our eyes to, or what is being filtered?
We're only limited to what we can see in the night sky, and that's just a small segment of the night sky. I mean, of the universe. Right. It's a tiny glimpse of it, right? And we and over time, it's the same sky, right? No matter what we see, it's always the same. You see, no matter where you are on the planet, right? At certain points in time. I mean, if you look at the Egyptians, they built the Great Pyramids in the same vein of what is it? Who's the guy I'm thinking of? Why can't I think of his name right now? I'm drawing a blank. Oh, he's got the belt. What's the name of that system? The guy. What's the name of the system?
Orion.
Orion. Yes, Orion's belt. Yeah, thank you. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm just blanking out.
I was thinking of the movie studio with the circle.
Yeah. So they built if the Great Pyramids are in the shape of his belt. They're in line with the belt, and at the same time, I believe there's. In Mexico, I think there's a pyramid system that's done the same way, and then in North America, towards the west, there's Native American villages that were built, that were created in the same way. It could be all coincidence, whatever. Maybe I'm watching too much Ancient Aliens, but but yeah, I mean it's crazy. But then I mean, they're worshiping the stars. And there's got to be something there other than just stars, right? Even their paintings, like North American, the Native American paintings have, even South America, the Indian tribes down there, they have paintings of beings with. Now I'm sounding like the guys from Ancient Aliens, but they have like, look like they're wearing astronaut helmets and stuff like that.
Yeah. So that also raises the question of are they having the same shared experience around the globe?
Yeah.
And if I can piggyback off of what Nate's saying here, is like, I don't like the theory of ancient civilizations being guided by aliens. He's offended by that. He's like, we are smart enough. We don't need aliens. But that's not to say that we haven't cycled through civilizations and found and lost and found again technology. That is also potentially something. Well, but this, Space Commander mooning me from the space station is not only rude, but ruins my day.
We can only see so far past. I mean, I think anything before the dinosaur era really is, scarce. You can't really.
Well, again, before the Triassic, it's the
Cretaceous.
No. It's the one where we were all in the sea. It's the.
So there's Triassic,
Triassic, Jurassic, Cretaceous, and there's the one from before. Keep saying Neolithic. Anyway, whatever. Beta Ray Bob said something kind of interesting where he wouldn't want to. I certainly wouldn't want to live on an off-world colony run by a billionaire. Could you really trust them to control all your air, food, and water? And I do agree. Is one thing you can always count on, and this kind of links into it. You can always count on humans to be greedy and prideful And the higher they come in society, the more greedy and the more prideful they become. So I think the reality is, in order for us to actually reach the stars, we're going to have to assume one grand thing. And that grand thing is that we are not Australian and American and Trinidadian. We're just human.
German.
Or German or whatever. We're just German, right? We're just human. And when we start to realize that the similarities between all of us by far trumps everything, there's nothing that we wouldn't be able to do. I mean, and that's the kind of philosophy that the Star Trek universe works on, right? Everybody just kind of they kind of realized as soon as they made contact with alien races, they were like, oh, maybe the Russians aren't the biggest threat, and they kind of curbed their enthusiasm about
those damn Romulans. But Hans, I would argue, and to the point that that Beta Ray Bob was making, is that I would argue that right now we are dependent on billionaires and millionaires for food and air, electricity, all of that. We are dependent on a lot of people for it because they are breeding out. And I mean, I don't want to get into the food industry, but they are breeding out the seeds from all vegetables and fruits. Yeah. So eventually we're going to have just seedless fruits and vegetables. And the only way we can get them is when they provide them to us, because we can't grow them ourselves, or we'll get to a point where we can't grow them ourselves. I think we are heading towards a system that is completely dependent. I mean, I don't go milk my own cows. I mean, I know we can if we had the. I mean, and I don't think I can, to be honest. I'd mess it up. But we don't grow our own vegetables. We don't supply our own electricity. There are people smarter than me that can figure that stuff out. But I would say that we are hugely dependent on governments and people with power, regardless of whether we're here or there. And it blows my mind how much we depend on governments and so forth on a giant rock hurtling through space. If I think about it too much, it upsets me. Why am I in there? It doesn't make any sense.
I think it's supposed to upset us. I think you should be upset. I think that's the right reaction, because the moment that we don't get upset at something like that and we just go and we play a video game or something, that the truth is we have really lost what it means to be human. And most people need to define what it is to be human. And the reality is, to be human requires us to struggle. It requires us to fight. It requires us to mess up filter. So that's what I was about to get at, actually. Beta Ray Bill already headed me off at the thing, right? So the reality is I agree, that would be our great filter. The moment that we're no longer upset that there are very few people controlling all the resources and preventing us from progressing just for the sake of profit. If the moment that we stop thinking about that and we become cattle, essentially, that's when the filter hits us, and that's when we're done. Because at that point, there's no point in continuing, because, well, we'll just let these very few people control and dictate, and that's the end of it. But the moment we realize that there's more to it than that, and there's more to simply exploring what we've got, and there's more than just the gilded cage we've all accepted for the civilization we live in right now, at that point, the paradox, the filter is passed again. And it won't be long again, because the reality is there are 8 billion of us, and only 1% of that 8 billion is in charge with as much as anything. And I've said this before, I'm all for murder. So we can fix that problem, but I'm not doing it by myself. So whenever the 7,999,000,000 decide to join me, contact me on Instagram and we can get to tar and feathering. You know what I mean?
the leader of the revolt is Hanz Chow. He
can find a knife. He can lead a rebellion.
Yeah, he found a knife at Joe Fest.
I'm a history guy, right? And people don't realize that there was a revolution in England. Henry II, the king, faced off against a simple ex-soldier / farmer named Wat Tyler. And Wat Tyler simply said, I will not pay your exorbitant taxes to wage your stupid wars anymore. And what happened is he found so many people who just agreed with him that tens of thousands of peasants rose up against Henry II, I believe it was. And it ended with, because Wat Tyler was a peaceful man. He did not want a war. And the king, who was, I think, 13 or 14 at this time, also did not want the war. However, it ended poorly because Wat Tyler ended up getting killed by one of the king's men. But at the same time, you can see in those few moments that it only takes one guy and everybody to notice and be like, no, I kind of agree with that. And through the internet, through communication, through the fact that I spoke to so many people at Joe Fest who think the exact same way that I do about paying taxes and the returns we get on them, and they live 6,000, 8,000, 12,000 miles away from me. It's only a matter of time before they're just like, nah, not anymore. You know?
So your grand scheme is to lead a rebellion in the same fashion that someone else did in the past and failed.
It didn't fail. It succeeded. Wat Tyler died, but the king stopped forcing people to pay those taxes because he realized that people would call him on his crap. The only problem right now is that people are willing to call people on their crap, but they're not willing to do anything about it because they feel alone. And the reason why
and the people that do push, they're often portrayed as being loony or crazy or unpatriotic.
Well,
they're painted in a bad
light. You can go more severe. So, damn, do I really want to talk about this? Anyway, okay. So at Joe Fest, and these were my favorite conversations because I find American society to be fascinating, because I find American people to be like some of the finest people on the face of the planet. And I mean that not because, but I mean, I love my country, obviously, and I would never live anywhere else. But with regards to patriotism and love for their country, and with regards to being generous and helpful, I've been to very few countries that are equal to the American people. And they're all, both sides of the same Joe fan, both sides of the political fence hate the exact same things. They don't want to pay money for this, that, and the other. They don't want to feel scared anymore. They don't want to feel this. But someone in the middle there convinced all of them that it's the other side's fault. But I spoke to people on both sides of the political fence, and they are reluctant to blame the other side. But at the same time, they don't want to talk to the other side either, because it takes courage. It's enough just to blame and be done. And I had this conversation, I kid you not, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times with several people from, as I said, both sides of the political fence. And I always told them the exact same thing at the end, which is if you guys could realize how similar you really were. And I wasn't hinting that I'd spoken to both sides, but if they could realize how similar they were and what they wanted was so similar, they'd realize that the people pointing them at each other and using them as weapons against each other, those guys would be dead and or tar and feathered before the month was over. Because there's so much to love about the United States of America, and there's so much that they could accomplish because they are a great nation with so much potential that's being used, underutilized right now. And it's just, I have such hope for them because I always say the same thing. They don't realize that they are the big brother on this side of the world, because when push comes to shove, it's the Americans who've protected us. It's the Americans who went down to Venezuela and did that thing there. Like, they don't realize how terrible that dude was. I mean, some people complain it was illegal, but take it from a guy who lives in a country that's been threatened so many times by that one guy. I mean, it sucks. Yes, I understand, but such a great people with so much potential. You guys landed on the moon. You landed on the moon. There's nothing y'all can't do. And we would follow you to hell and back simply because we were raised on all of the movies in the 80s and 90s that showed America to be so great. And we agree. They are so very great. Because I knew if anything bad happened, they'd always kind of have our backs. And they have. Back in 1990, when the coup happened, America deployed Marines to help us. Nobody knows that. I do, because I was there. And then back in 1970, whatever, I wasn't even born yet in those days. We had a revolution in Trinidad and Tobago. They landed Marines and they helped reestablish order there too. They've done a lot of great things, the American military and the American government. But somewhere along the way, they just got I guess they're just confused. But it's funny because if they were to talk, they'd realize that they're not confused. They're just scared. And there are more friends out there than there are enemies. Sorry, I'm ranting. Go ahead.
No, you're
No,
right.
no.
If they would talk to each other, it'd be a different story. But unfortunately, they don't.
Yeah.
We love a good Hanz rant around these. Which there's the quote that says you should never, to keep friendships, you should never talk about money, religion, or politics. And we've talked about money and politics. The only thing left to do is let's talk about religion. So I saw Disclosure Day at the theater.
I did.
Sorry?
Disclosure Day was good. I like it.
I thought it was mid. I'm sick. And Hanz, have you seen it?
I don't know what it is. It's a movie?
So Disclosure Day, yeah. It's about the it's about the government coming clean about, well, they don't come clean about it. They're forced to come clean about the existence of
extraterrestrial
alien
life.
Okay.
But my favorite part of that movie, and I thought it was better. And the only reason why, no spoilers, no problem, Beta Ray Bob, no spoilers. So without giving any spoilers, my favorite part, and you'll see this in the trailers, I won't say anything that isn't in the trailers, is the debate over religion and the existence of extraterrestrial life forms, right? So we'll head away from the movie, but continue to talk about what does the existence of life do to, because you're a man of faith, Hanz, and how would that impact your faith, do you think, if there were more to life than what's on Earth?
Okay, so this is how I think of it. So there are several types of faithful people, right? There are those that like they're born with their faith and they hang on to their faith. They never question their faith because they believe their faith to be unquestionable. And then there are those who don't have their faith, and then over time they grow to have it. And there are those who don't have their faith, question it, and don't bother with it because it seems like rubbish. And then there are people who have their faith who question it all the time. And then they realize one thing very important is, and it's in the Bible and in many other spiritual books. I'm a big fan of Hinduism as well, is that when you're younger, your religion is this. It goes from left to right. It travels from me to you and from you to me and back. And then, so therefore you kind of fit into this formalized religion, yeah? So you're Roman Catholic or you're Muslim or you're whatever, yeah? But as you get older, you realize that it was never left to right. It was always up and down. It was always just from you to God. And then therefore it always travels from a divine place and to everyone else. So every question that you asked actually brings you a little bit closer to him. The discovery of extraterrestrial life would not lead me to think that, oh my gosh, everything I've been told is a lie. It would lead me to believe, like, oh, wow, look at all these things that God has done. He's created other life and other places. We are said to have been created in his image, but I mean, it never said, and only us. And done a bunch of different things. Your faith, or my faith at least, is just between me and him. I don't require other people to believe in it. I practice with a group of other people, but I don't need to believe what they believe either. I think your faith is a very private thing, and it doesn't dictate whether I'm a good person or not, simply because that which is good regardless. But it does certainly give me a bit of guidance. And I do think that if we were, for example, to discover alien life, or they were to make contact with us, I would judge them by the same standards that I would judge anybody. If they came down here and they behaved like right asses, then I would probably treat them the exact same as though they were right asses of the human variety. You know what I mean? I mean, there'll be cultural differences, no doubt. But I think on Earth, at least, there's a direct correlation between intelligence and aggressive action. So the more aggressive a creature is, the more intelligent it actually is. So they'd probably have their own definitions of all these things as well. And there'd be some bumps to run over, but definitely the existence of life wouldn't make me question the existence of religion. And I think, and Bob said it as well, is that and I think he and I are kind of resonating. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he said it right there. He's seen anything about this God only created life on Earth. Exactly. That's exactly Bob. I agree. Anyway, With regards to ghosts, things fluctuating between dimensions, for example, the existence of life in a different dimension, but also on Earth, and every now and then reaching the barrier and going back and forth. I believe in that as well, simply because I believe that there's so many. Think about yourself and think about how little you know about yourself, and think about how much you've discovered since a child all the way to now. And that's just you. And then I have to think about Gaz, and I have to think about Zazel. How much do I not know about you guys? Each of us is in this vast ocean of discovery, and that's such a fascinating and wonderful thing.
Gaz and I are pretty basic. You'll find us at the bar having a beer.
We're not too complicated.
Yeah, we're not complicated.
I've never met a man of virtue.
Not true, Josh.
Principle. Absolutely not, Joe Fan. Absolutely not.
Incorrect. I've spent time with you, mate. You're very intelligent. That is true, though.
Let me tell you the truth, dude. Let me tell you the real truth. An idiot would never say they're an idiot. They wouldn't know. Anyway,
hang on a minute.
I'm just as likely to be like, hey man, let's just go have a beer to an alien as opposed to like,
oh yeah,
do you believe in God? Just go have a beer and talk about it.
I was saying though, there's no such thing. I've never met a man or human, let's not be sexist, on the face of this planet who is a man of principle, a person of principle and virtue, who is also not complicated. Because principles and virtues are only ever formed under pressure. Without pain, there can be no growth. And all those painful things that happened to force the growth of virtues and principle, those things make an individual very complex. But what I've learned is that a complex past usually leads to an individual being very simple with regards to their decision-making processes, because their virtues and principles define them very well. Only dishonest people seek to hide things and confuse things. That's actually what Diablo or Diabolus means. It doesn't mean devil. It means to confuse or to cause discord, right? So whenever the Spanish refer to the Satan as Diablo, it means he who confuses or he who makes mess. And all the people I know who have principle and virtue seek to make order. And that's a very complicated idea, but built on very simple practices. And the main practice by which they all hinge on is the virtue of wisdom. And then right under the virtue of wisdom is the virtue of honesty. A wise and honest man will always be complicated, but the things they say will be easily read and understood by all. So you guys may consider yourself to be basic, but trust me, from the way I've studied you and the way that I do study everybody, and what I see, you're anything but. Because the reality is you have both been forged by something that has hurt you. And even through all that hurt, you've chosen not to be dishonest. You've not chosen to be evil. You've not chosen to bring other people down. You've chosen to do good. And I know why I do it, but I don't know why you do it. And I don't know if you have explored yourself enough to understand why, when given the option to be wicked and to be a liar and to be all these things, instead you chose to be the other. And I think that's something.
Hans, I got to be honest with you, buddy. I've had moments where I've been dishonest, and I have been disingenuous, and I'm not proud of those moments in my life. But in the 40 odd years that I've been around, I've gone up and down in my early life trying to figure out where I stand and what my what kind of person I want to be. And it was only later in life where I was like, you know what, I want to be better than what I'm capable of. And go on.
No. Keep going. And I'll because it's not going to change what I'm going to say next, I'm sure.
Okay. So it's just I think the self-reflection in my later years made me look at some of the decisions I was making, and maybe coming to terms with some of the excuses I was making for myself, and then later wanting to become someone who is better than what I maybe even could ever be.
I think it's like seeing your faults or what it does to you when you try to like overcompensate for them. You know what I mean? Like you lie. You just don't lie to somebody. You lie to yourself, and you try to convince yourself that you're something that you're not. I think it's just overcomplicating your life. I come to like just where I'd rather just face whatever it is, as opposed to trying to come up with an excuse or lie about like how things are going or whatever. Just got to face it straight out. And I think it's the better choice in life, whether it does you good or bad. I mean, it's better than just like falsifying everything, put on a fake face for everybody and be like, yeah, everything's great and everything's not. I'd rather just be honest with people, as opposed, because that's the way I want people to be with me. I'd rather, be honest with me. If you don't like me as a friend or you don't want to talk to me, that's fine. I'm cool with that. If you do, whatever. You don't believe in aliens, it's cool. If you're religious, it's cool. I'm good with all of it. Whether I agree with you or not, I'm cool. You know what I mean? I don't know if that's any good reason to being the person that I am. I don't really think I'm a good person, but I think I'm an okay person.
Well, we think you're great, Gaz.
I think the reality of what both of you have said, it doesn't change the fact that there's a why at the end of all of these things. So it's like well, why have you decided to do these things? Is it only because it made your life feel better? Is it because it made you feel better? Are you the you that's within you right now? Are you your conscience? Are you your mind? Are you your soul? What part of you made you decide that? And to me, it takes a whole lifetime to contemplate things like that, at least to me. And that's why my religion became so important to me. I questioned it a lot. I still question. I question all sorts of stuff in it. But I question it because I question me, because some things don't feel right. So therefore, I have an obligation to explore not only myself, but the sea of knowledge that has been provided for me through literature, from wiser men, from mentors and gurus, from all these different places, to discover why I feel this way. Because at the end of the day, if you go by any philosopher, man has one real thing to conquer, and that's only himself. And so, well, why have you decided to choose what you have chosen? And why have other men decided thusly? And why have you chosen to demonstrate to other men and humankind that simplifying your life and being honest and showing them creates a simpler and a happier you? Why is that the decision that you've made? Why is it important that you can be cool with everybody? What defines us? Yeah. And I think that's only truly expressed, Carl Jung said this, through interactions with other people. And it would be a fascinating thing for us to explore that with another race that grew up with a different concept of these things. Maybe a long time ago, I went to a psychiatrist because I was very angry. And my wife asked me one day a fundamental question that I'd never asked myself, which is the same question I just posed to you. My wife asked me, why are you always so angry? And I thought to myself, I don't know. And I said, you know what? I don't know, but I'm going to find out. So I went to a psychologist and I spoke to her for months. Once a month for many, many months. And at the end of 3 years, it came down to one simple thing. Not everybody thinks like you, Hanz. And look at how simple that piece of the puzzle was. It took me a long time to reach there. It took years for me to find that one simple fundamental truth, that we all think differently. But as soon as I learned that, thank God, because somebody else was willing to take the time and my money to figure out that, that's what it was. And as soon as I learned that people don't all think like me, I became really cool with everybody. Because then I learned that you have to step outside of yourself, put yourself in their shoes, and try to see what they see as well. And when you start to figure out that you're not the main character in their story, you might not even be a supporting character, you have way more mercy with them, you have way more kindness with them, you have way more patience with them. And then when that keeps going on, you can be more gentle with other people. And when you learn to be gentle with other people, you learn to be gentle with yourself, because we all
very
learn,
well said. You have a great way of putting words together. Speaking of, Joe Fan went ahead and called himself an idiot and then came up with this masterpiece. I honestly like to think I sometimes have a glorious absence of sophistication. If that isn't the smartest thing I've ever read today.
There's the absence of
Some drugs.
The absence of complication is not the absence of sophistication. Because the reality is, if you think of how mechanisms work, the simplest mechanism is more often than not the most effective. And then you could add the bells and whistles on after. It doesn't matter how pretty it is, because the first lever that we ever invented probably was just a stick on a rock, you know? So,
So here, I have a funny story. I don't know if this, I don't even know if this pertains to that, but it's kind of like a belief system, like you were talking about religious or whatever. I had a few years ago, I had my company hired a new supervisor to supervise over me, right? And we would, you know, she was really friendly, and we used to talk and stuff like that. And I would tell her stuff like, you know, go on walks, and I don't know how it came up in the conversation. You know how you see those pile of rocks, people pile up the rocks,
yeah.
like they're on trails or whatever. And I think she was talking about how she was on the beach, and she showed me a picture of it, and she thought it was really cool, whatever. And I said, yeah, you know who does that? And she's like, what? I said, Sasquatch. Sasquatch does that. That's how you know Sasquatch is in there. And she looked at me, she's like, what? I was like, yeah, go anywhere. You see him on the trail. Sasquatch does it. And she's like, no, people do it. No. I said, Sasquatch does it. And my belief is Sasquatch does it. And I know people do it, but I'm just like, and she thought it was hilarious. So she told her husband. And so every time they went on little walks and stuff, she would send pictures to me, be like, look, Sasquatch is here. I'm like, yeah, see? I don't know. I just, sometimes I think a simpler look at things, or outrageously look at things, this brings a little joy to people's lives, and that I find hilarious. And we go places, stuff like that, and do stupid stuff just to get a laugh. I'll say something out loud, like obvious or whatever, and people will start laughing and looking at me like just shaking their head. But I don't know. I just don't like to overcomplicate things anymore.
Yeah, I'm in that way too, dude.
When you overcomplicate something, one of my employers, he told me this. It's like, people who overcomplicate things are trying to sell you something. So, and I kind of stick by that, and I found that to be true. The people who kind of overcomplicate things beyond the necessity to do so, trying to get you to buy their help or buy something they think will help you, you know?
That's relatable.
I don't care what anybody says. Sasquatch is real. Whether he's an alien or not, he's out there.
There's something out there.
I'm trying to remember what H.P. Lovecraft's name was, but I think it's the Migo or something like that. But they are the abominable snowman / Sasquatch race, and they do not exist on our plane of reality alone. They flicker in between, back and forth, and that's why, like, when the star-headed race of old ones tried to fight them, they couldn't beat them, because they could destroy the material on this plane, but they couldn't destroy the material on the next. And I find that kind of thing to be fascinating, simply because, once again, if we can be so infinite in our complexity, even to our own brains, stuff like interdimensional anything, that's definitely a thing. Look at the scientific breakthroughs that we've made in the last 30, 35, 36 years. We went from using we went from using like cassette players to CDs to DVDs to Blu-rays to this friggin' abomination. I mean,
my entire music catalog's on this phone.
It's on your phone. I mean, where are we going to be in the next 10 years? You know, where are we going to be in the next 20? Where are we going to be
downloaded into our heads?
Well, I hope not, because the idea of some idiot hacking my brain and then playing, you know, Never Gonna Give You Up on repeat until I pay him all the money in my bank account is not something I need.
I'd be all right with that.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm digging
it. Yeah, give me some Rick Astley. I love it.
Now, to what you said earlier, I hope that doesn't happen. Like AI takes over. I think there's kind of a pushback to AI right now. To what it can.
How are you, jealous?
Because once human race does lose its sense of exploration, actually wanting to explore, as opposed to just sitting in front of a TV and zoning out, or screen zoning out. I think, yeah, you're right. That means that it's done. We're done as a species, because we're just going to be. Well, was there a movie, Bruce Willis movie, where everybody had a
surrogate?
Was it? Say it again.
Surrogates. Yeah, surrogates.
Yeah, where everybody had their online persona and they're walking around in like synthetic bodies.
Yep.
They're in their apartments, jacked up to a machine, while the synthetic bodies walking around living their lives for them.
So
turns out to be a big MMO like game, basically, which is just ridiculous.
So for example, within what you have said, and because people think that Instagram is full of dumb crap, I saw this quote from Instagram. This is a person who wrote this, _warrior. It's an atheist person. It's like, AI accidentally made me believe in the concept of a human soul by showing me what art looks like without it. And that resonated with me as an artist so much, because I don't know if you remember Ghost Recon.
Yeah.
Remember what those two idiots used to say after they killed all those people? The future has to be human. Remember that? That line stuck out to me even harder when I read that quote, because I realized to myself that no matter what, we are the thing that created this other thing. And however we venture into the future, it's either the future comes as a result of us and we are involved in it, or the future does not exist and it's something else entirely. Yeah. So the future has to be human. So take it as a guy who's trying to learn how to draw human hands properly and stuff, even though I can kind of fraud it and kind of get away with it. That whole struggle and all that they're nothing like that to make you feel, to humble you, make you feel like a human again. You know what I mean?
Hey, wait a minute. You struggling to draw hands?
Always.
Hanz AI.
I'm gonna clue you into this. Guys like Jim Lee, guys like Todd McFarlane still struggle to draw hands, so don't worry about it.
And that's what makes me feel better. Exactly. Gosh, because I had so much time to talk to so many artists, I met I think his name is Peter Smith. He's an artist for Disney. He had a table there this time, and I bought one of his books, and he draws beautiful. He drew like Baroness, but in Disney style. It was
what's his name?
I believe it's Paul or Peter Smith. I can tell you right now. But he gave me some advice on like, buy these books and just sit down there and draw those things. And you know what, dude?
You send me those book names?
Yeah, it's Peter Smith.
Peter Smith.
Yeah, sure, no problem. I'll do it for you. But I don't know. I got to talk to so many artists, and they're there, they're doing their commissions, they'll answer your questions, and such a human experience, this exchange of information. Give me that. I can Google it, but it's not as much fun. It doesn't have a face.
I think it is. I don't know. This can't be the right guy.
See,
so Droz is saying that they don't know how much longer our planet can sustain life.
I'll send them to you.
All right, thank you.
And I got to agree with this sentiment too. Is like we actively poison our environment and then throw our arms up in the air with, why is this happening? What can we do about it?
Well, again, it's the small percentage of people that run the place that are making those decisions, and no matter what we say to stop them, we do our part to try to clean the environment, to try to do things. You know, I'm walking around and I pick the trash up off the ground. I said to my friend, I was like, we should just bring a trash bag with us next time we go for a walk. Then we see a piece of trash, just pick it up. But I think recycling and all that stuff, we do our part and stuff like that. And try to limit my carbon footprint on the planet. But yet, watch like government officials just not give a shit and get on a G6 jet plane and fly somewhere.
Because the short-sightedness of a billionaire is, I have all the money, and I'm here for this amount of years. It doesn't matter what happens after this. I'm set.
Well, it doesn't even matter. I think their outlook is how can get more. How can they get more and more and more? And you're seeing that here in the U.S. right now. Is how they get more.
Well, they don't, because once again, those same people are forgetting, or they never knew perhaps, that the real wealth is in self-mastery and understanding self. So if you can't look at yourself in the mirror and say and understand exactly what you are, the only thing you can do to silence that horrendous sadness of not knowing yourself is the accumulation of things outside of self. And most people get very bitter, especially when they don't understand their own anger. They tend to blame it on a lot of other people. But I mean, when you realize it's only ever really been you, you know where to start fixing, you know? I mean, I think there's a very famous guy. I'm looking at the man in the mirror. I'm asking him to change his ways. Yeah, you know, just if you want to make the world a better place, take a look at yourself and make the change.
Change.
You know, just, you know, that's where we
It's
belong.
the truth, though. It's the truth.
It is.
It's the truth. I hope we don't get hit for that. Hit that though, because
Yeah, it was too good.
I listen to Hanz do that like the whole song. It'd be great.
Yeah.
But no,
Karaoke next week.
that song, it hits you, right? It hits you when you hear it, and like it makes you think about yourself. It's like that in the song "We Are the World" by USA. Remember USA for Africa? You remember that song?
Yeah.
Do you guys remember that song? That if you listen to that, it's like it hits you when you hear it. It's like it hits you. It's like, yeah, you know, like what can I do to change? I can only control what I do. I can't control what you guys do. But if I can make a difference in the world by doing just simple crap, just simple things in my life.
It's also, I would throw in Phil Collins just for any reason. But Another Day in Paradise, listen to that song.
Yeah, that's a good.
And it's about the homelessness, the plight of the human condition, and how we, because our lives aren't as complicated as their lives, was like, well, we don't want to look at that, so we shield ourselves, or cross the street without acting like we see it or acknowledge it. And I think that has got a pretty deep message too. Same with Land of Confusion, Genesis. That's not about homelessness, obviously, but it's a good message there about, we're getting. If I start talking about Phil Collins and Genesis, which I will be going to see Steve Hackett, part of Genesis, I'll be going to see him with Space Commander this year. I'm going to go visit him in the UK. Whoop, 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 whoop. It's going to be good.
Just to stick on the concept of aliens, for any of them to reach here and to have conquered one of the dimensions of, even if they've conquered light speed, the level...
I'm doing my part.
Yeah. The level of cooperation that it would have taken for them to arrive at that technical level, I think we're capable of it. I really do.
We're a pretty young planet in the grand scheme of the galaxy, right? And life, as we know it, has only been around for just a blink in the grand scheme of things, with how old the galaxy itself is. So, there could be plenty of times where aliens have come to Earth and we aren't even here yet, and they're like, nothing here, move on.
Well, I mean,
the lizards seem to be doing quite well.
I'll say this, right? So this is like, you guys know that I'm a huge science fiction buff, right? I love science fiction, especially science fiction. Yes, especially science fiction from the 40s and the 50s. Those old sci-fi movies, even though they're the stigma that some of those movies have, there's always a religion aspect of these movies, right? I'm thinking like War of the Worlds, where the Martians are just coming out. They're just about to start the invasion, right? The military's all around them. They're ready. They're thinking they got, we got good defensive positions around them. We can just annihilate them whenever we feel like it's whatever they want, right? The only person that's like concerned with talking to them is the priest, right? And he goes and he says to his niece, he's like, nobody's tried talking to them. If they're more intelligent than us, they must be closer to God, right? So his belief is that, even though his belief is right there, says what Hanz and what I believe Beta Ray said is like, the Bible says that, God created life in his own image, but he didn't specify just Earth, right? So his first thing was, let's go talk to them first. And we all know that they already obliterated those three guys that was waving the sugar sack. They're like, oh yeah, whatever. But they were there just to kick our asses anyways. But I mean, like, that's something that I would be like, well, we should go talk to them first before like shooting a gun or aiming a gun at them. You show them like, hey, we're no threat to you unless you're gonna come try to kill us, right? But it's something we can't solve over a beer and little hang out at Joe Fest,
Yeah.
But I mean, they already know if there are any alien species out there, they already know who we are. They see it every day since the first radio broadcast. You know,
So, are y'all familiar? And I would suggest anybody in the chat. I don't know how many people are there right now, but if you have the opportunity, go and read The Egg. It's a short story, and it's basically, I'll give you the rundown. So basically, every human has to live through the life of every possible life. So you'd grow old as a poor man, you'd grow old as a rich man, you grow old as a garbage collecting, and you basically at the end of this entire series of living, you'd understand what it's like to be absolutely everybody, and in that oneness, you kind of become godlike or more like a god kind of situation, yeah. And that's a wonderful definition of, I suppose, the like hyper intelligent species. Hyper intelligent species would be able to kind of put themselves in that position. The problem is, unfortunately, as I said earlier, is that the more aggressive a species is, the more intelligent they seem to be. And there's always the terror that it would be like the Mars aliens, and they would only see us as they'd only see us as cattle, essentially. You know, you don't think about stepping on ants. I mean, some of us do.
Yeah.
We think more about bees, and the only reason we think about bees is because of how useful they are to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I do agree with Beta Ray Bob. Without 500, 900 years of the Dark Ages, we'd be way ahead. And I think he and I could probably agree that that Dark Age was horrendously caused by not only human greed, but a misconception of many of the precepts set by wiser men from before. And in all honesty, despite this being referred to as the information age, we're kind of heading into another dark age, because I know I'm a school teacher. I know many, many students who'd rather sit down there and skim through TikTok, atrophying brain cells, watching dancing cats or some asshole pour raw coffee in his mouth and then hot water after in order to get a couple likes, you know? So the reality is we have all the information. We just don't have the desire to study anymore. And that's by design as far as I can see. But I promise you, if aliens popped up tomorrow and they were like, ha ha, this planet is ours, we would get our shit together so quickly. You know?
Is that what Reagan said? We would quickly unite.
Yeah, we would.
If there was a threat, if it was an external threat.
So the fact that we're divided right now, it's really, you have to look at who's dividing us, right? And those are the guys that we should be tar and feathering. And I've said that 3 times in this.
Yes, I agree.
But
all right, Hans. Well, let's do it. You've convinced me.
Fine, all right. Revolution starts right here.
Hey, Joe Hunter's here. How are you, buddy?
What's up, buddy? It started here and
I hung with Joe Hunter. Joe Hunter. Wow, Joe Hunter at Joe Fest. It was great.
I'm liking his little series about fixing O-rings now. It's such just watching him do it is like. There was one he was fixing. What was it, Zorana? Did you guys see that one where he fixed their part and the part just shot across the room? I'm like, ooh, no.
They are the kind of videos, and I've mentioned this before. Joe Hunter's videos are like conversations you would have at a pub.
Yeah,
you know, and it always feels like when I put on a video, because I could go make myself a coffee, or I could do some chores, or I could just be chilling out in the lounge. But it's like we're having a hangout, as opposed to, you know, I don't always need to learn something. Sometimes I just want to hang out, and those ones where he's like fixing a Joe, it's like I've fixed 1 million Joes, but I'll still watch someone else do it because I understand the frustrations too. So yeah, it's always fun.
I think I'm just gonna like collect a couple of Joes that their O-rings go, and then next Joe Fest, I'm gonna bring them down to the bar after hours, and we can just sit there with a beer and just start fixing Joes.
Oh, you know what? That would be a fun game, like a who can fix it the quickest.
Yeah.
Dude, at Joe Fest this year, Marauder had. How fast could you put together Marauder figures? Racing. It was amazing. It was a lot of fun to see.
That's another idea right there too. Just buy a bunch of Marauder parts and just go sit at the bar, build Joes.
I agree.
Some crayons.
You know what's really weird? Also,
you need some crayons too. Yeah.
So Independence. So JLS just said Independence Day. Essentially, who
Yeah.
here
Right.
saw Independence Day 2?
I saw it. I
saw
saw
it?
it. Yeah.
Haven't seen it.
Didn't see it. Okay. So I'm doing two things. All right. So let me do this one first. So number one, I think that even though Independence Day 2 was like panned a lot, I really enjoyed the concept
Mhm.
of the whole thing and how humanity knew that there was, you saw what humanity did. They were like, they knew the crap was going to hit the fan. So they built a bigger fan essentially. And I like that. I really do kind of wish that it kind of leads back to like Watchmen, for example. If anybody who's read Watchmen, the book, they know that they kind of engineered an alien invasion, essentially. Big spoiler
Right.
alert, to
Yeah.
scare people into working together.
Mhm.
And it sucks that like all the peace would be built on a lie, as was said by Rorschach in that and by Owlman. I can't remember his name, but I do agree that why does it have to take something so big? Why do we have to be scared of
Right.
something? You know?
Right. Yeah. Because it, like, if you look at it, it's exactly what would happen if that really happened. Like,
Yeah.
if you think about like War of the Worlds, for instance, like technically that's basically what it is, right? We would reverse technology, or engineer that technology. We would build the same society, not even thinking that like if they showed up, they could control it. Because it's their stuff that we would still, and the entire world is united against the one threat, right?
Yeah.
Like in
Well,
the Odyssey,
I don't want to.
the Odyssey, the story of the Odyssey, the sea people, the people coming to destroy their civilization, right? It's the
I'm
same thing.
gonna put the link, not a link, but I'm gonna put the name of a movie. It is free to watch on YouTube. And
Monster
chat,
Squad.
this is
Nice.
your homework. Go and watch that movie. War of the
Monster
Worlds
Squad is
Goliath.
a great movie.
War of the Worlds
What-
Goliath. It's free to watch. It's an animated series. It's basically a sequel to War of the Worlds. Go and look at that. It was supposed to be a series. It was good stuff. The second thing I'm going to say is, and I hate that I have to use this movie as an example, but it's the only one I can think of. Hasbro's Battleship movie.
I liked it enough.
So, right. Okay. So
the
at a
popcorn movie
certain
is fun.
point, they happen to get possession. The soldiers on the battleship get possession of one of these aliens, yeah, and they have the alien there lying down, and they're about to take the helmet off. And in my head, I'm like, let this alien look like a human. Let this alien look like a perfect human. And all that I could think in my head is that, imagine how cool that would have been. Everybody bitches and moans about, oh, these aliens look like green humans. Oh, these aliens look too human. But think about it. We're in and I have to use this guy's quote, but we're like a bunch of like anxious, aggressive monkeys almost, you know? Imagine if you gave those anxiety monkeys technology, and, you know, we're fueled also by greed and these different things. The first thing we think is to fly to another world and frag them and then take their stuff, you know? And I just felt that was such a fine concept, especially if we're looking at Goldilocks zones, planets and stuff like that. Imagine like we show up, but we're exactly like us, but more advanced, but more aggressive. Like we make perfect villains. You know?
So here's the other thing. I was going to say this earlier, but JLS Comics has reiterated the point. The enemy of my enemy is my friend, right? I'm glad he brought that up, because I think that the natural circle of life would be where we're not united. Well, I mean, I would argue that the world is more united than it isn't, but we're not united. A big threat comes along that unites us. We get rid of that threat, and then we start fighting in amongst ourselves again, and that's just human nature. But and the point I want to make is, and I hate to bring it up, but 9/11, right? 9/11 happened, absolute tragedy, but the world came together and they were like, this is unacceptable. We should be better to each other. And there was a time where everybody was thinking about everybody. In Australia, and we're very far away from America, but in Australia, people were looking out for each other. They were, there was a big heightened sense of, where is the next attack going to be? Like, it could be anywhere. And thankfully there was nothing quite like what happened then. But then after a while, time goes by and you start to fall back into those patterns again.
Well, if you think of a normal human being, think of like getting fit, for example. Think of something simple like eating a fruit for breakfast. How many of us can actually keep eating just a fruit for breakfast for an extended period of time? Habits take like a week to break, but it takes like 3 months to actually to become a proper habit. Yeah. So
Right.
after 9/11 happened, I mean, certainly everybody tried to look out for one another for a long time, but that it requires us to understand that this kind of moral vigilance is something that needs to be practiced every day. And it gets tiring to have to do it, to think about your fellow man, because inherently we're afflicted by something called concupiscence, which is where we are constantly assailed on a moral perspective by our own selfish desires. Our id is the caveman within us who's like, more food, more yummy, more sex, And then we have to look at things like the ego and the superego, which are warring with the id constantly. And to deny the fact that the id is important is not practical. We just have to tame it and channel it properly. And for a human being to do that, it requires a certain degree of humility. And humility is kind of hard to come by, man. Because
If you don't tame it, it's Forbidden Planet all over again.
Yeah, if you don't tame it, you become like a technological barbarian, essentially. You have all the stuff, you have the fancy language, but your desires are still incredibly primitive, and that's not what we're meant to be. Listen, I hate Star Trek, right? But I wholly believe that is that's the intent. I find it boring, except for Next Generation. That was acceptable. But I believe that's actually what our society is supposed to be like. I think we're supposed to be like that.
We should end up that way, because I mean, it's the betterment of mankind.
It is, absolutely. Contact was the best movie. And I love
Yeah,
that.
who brought that up?
I think Beta Ray Bob's brought it up, but I think the day the Earth stood still.
JLS brought up Contact from Jodie Foster.
Yeah.
That movie was fantastic.
It was.
It was fantastic. But they don't make movies like that anymore. You know why? Because they think we're stupid. And they think that we don't like thinking, But I love thinking. Everybody should, you know what? Every single movie ever should be written in Shakespearean English, and everybody should be forced to think more.
No.
Yeah, I watch movies to escape, not to learn. Okay.
I like the day the Earth stood still. I think is probably a better analogy to like meeting an alien that looks just like us. Because when he took his helmet off, he looked when he came out of the spaceship and he had his helmet on.
Is that the day the Earth stood still?
Yeah, the original. I'm not talking about the Keanu Reeves one.
Right, but I
didn't mind the Keanu Reeves one. I thought
the Keanu one was good, but I don't think it holds a candle to the original.
That's fair, but I don't think it's a bad movie though. I quite like it. I know a lot of people don't like it.
But I mean, like if you watch that movie, you can feel like the minute he escapes from the hospital, you can feel like the hate. Like they want to get him because he's not us, right? Even though he looks like us, it's just showing like the alien race is like us, but they don't want to. We don't want to hear that we're bad because all we want to do is destroy each other. And I think that's summed up perfectly in what is those movies called? The ones that what's his name's doing, Cameron's doing, Avatar. Where we are the bad guys in the movies, right? Because we're trying to destroy the alien life on the jungle planets, right? We're trying to kill them because we want.
Oh, that's the name of the planet.
Was it? Yeah, we're the bad guys in that completely.
Which is actually based on a French comic,
right? Yeah. Which I mean, like it's weird. It's weird to see us as bad guys, even though we see ourselves as bad guys all the time. I mean, we're the bad guys in every movie because it's us.
It puts us in perspective though. Because I remember when the first Avatar came out, look at JLS. JLS is bringing the big guns. 3-body problem. The book. Go and read it. Reading and writing. Get that brain working. Anyway, absolutely, I agree. Oh my gosh, they try Skelly. Oh, whatever. I don't want to get into it. Anyway, bottom line is, I forgot what I was saying. Anyway, whatever.
We lost the train of thought.
Thanks a lot, Jay. Let's go.
It ran off into the bush. He wrote Three Body Problem, and I started to vomit myself with excitement. You know, but yeah, you know what? JLS, were you ever at Joe Fest? Because I watch all your videos, and everybody's like, he's so cool, but I never got to meet you. Were you ever at Joe Fest?
I don't think there's many people cooler than JLS comics.
We don't say when I was in the military, we didn't say Mike, which was millimeter, right? But he said Mike, in all his videos, like 30 Mike, and I was like, what does that mean? And I had to Google Mike in the thing as millimeter. I was like, oh my gosh, these Americans and their shortcut by making things longer, but also much cooler. What is this? You know? Anyway, bottom line, yes, Three Body Problem. Go and read it. It's wonderful. And ironically, Three Body Problem involving the Chinese solving a mathematical problem. Racist, but also very apt, you know?
It's not racist if it's accurate, right? It's
just pattern detection, so they say. But I love the Three Body Problem. Not the show so much, but definitely the books.
I saw the show, but I guess I'll check out some reading. I'm into picture books these days. Not enough time to read.
I prefer to read. I can't remember who it was, but they said reading is essentially sitting down and hallucinating to yourself.
Yeah.
What about pop-up books? Do you like pop-up books?
No, they're too scary.
What are you talking about? Look at this.
It's like you open up, I think the scariest book is Monster at the end of this book with Grover, because you know it's coming, but it still gets you. You got a pop-up book, do you, Gaz?
Godzilla pop-up book.
Let's look at it.
I'm gonna open it this way, right?
Okay.
Oh wait, hold on. This they said it was new, but it's got some problems. So let me skip that one. There.
Relatable.
Whoop.
Whoa!
Oh, that's cool.
And then a little bit of Monster.
It's amazing what you can do with paper.
And then Monster Island.
Oh,
my
my son loves Godzilla.
You get this?
Oh, that's cool.
Watch this, ready?
That's awesome.
Oh, Mega Godzilla.
Mika
All
Godzilla.
right, JLS, invitation to next year's Joe Fest. We're all going to be there. My wife's going to be there too. Does that mean that I'm going to behave myself at the bar? No. You'll be there and you'll like it.
I think actually Godzilla is probably, to me, the worst case alien invasion. And I feel the same way about Pacific Rim. If they
Godzilla's not an alien. What are you talking about?
No, he stops alien.
I'm talking about they basically send a giant monster to stomp us, right? They send something that we can't stop. Nukes don't work. It has no conscience, and it's just going to flatten us, right? Like that is a worst case scenario for me.
King Ghidorah, Gigan, Megalon.
What's this other one called again? Cloverfield.
Oh, yes.
You see that thing? And where the parasites were falling off of it and all that kind of business, and you're getting hunted by little things that are monsters, or a movie like The Mist. You see, if they just did something like that, I'm not cool with that. Like, that's the worst case. Like, if you can talk to them and they monologue, they say we're inferior and that stuff of thing, I'm all for that. But if they just send like a giant monster to organize us, like, I'm not. No.
Yeah. The Mist. Before we
I'm
go
all
off
on
that
team. I'm all on team Mechagodzilla.
The Mist is one of my favorite horror movies. I love that movie. It's such a perfect ending.
Agreed.
If you haven't seen The Mist, go check it out.
Oh, man.
The ending's not part of the book. I got the novella, and it's very open ended, and the movie itself is pretty clear ending. So I quite liked it personally, and it was available to. I mean, you could just make the setting happen on your own TV. But when it first came out, they also brought it out as a black and white feature, and I think that was pretty cool too. Gundams, yeah.
There have been so many like movies that came out that are such worthy movies and such accurate representation. Oh gosh, in researching this topic, Fire in the Sky came up.
Oh yes, I
Oh,
loved that movie.
I couldn't watch it more than once. It's a rough.
Oh yeah, yeah.
It is a
That's
rough
hard.
watch.
Fire in the Sky
Yeah.
is that the that's not the Travis Walton
Yeah.
movie, right?
It's
Yeah,
Based on a true story.
based on-
yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, dude. That's just not my life, dog. That's not my life. But yeah, no, as I said, that giant monster assault, that sort of thing. Cool. Anyway, long story short, I do believe there are aliens out there. I think that they would be an exceptional reflection of us in order for us to meet them. I think we can meet them. I think they're already here. And I feel the reality is that it's kind of like a Mass Effect situation where they're waiting for us to be wise enough and smart enough to kind of join them in the stars almost. And I still gonna believe in God throughout that whole thing, even though they're probably like, there is none, right? And I was like, you don't know that.
Well, I mean, if you take the Mass Effect,
Hey, Corporal Lang's here. Good to see
Like,
you, buddy. Corey, I just watched your video. He takes he's got an amazing collection. But he takes some of his more rare items and goes through and sees what value they have now on eBay, right? And obviously value is it's a ebb and flow. But my God, what an interesting watch that was. Just to see how much people are willing to pay for a toy. We love you too, buddy. Miss you. Come and hang out with us next week.
like I said, the Asari were very religious,
Yeah.
right? If you think about their culture and stuff. So I mean, it's out there. We all have different beliefs.
Well, thanks for creating me, Ari. It makes me feel good.
I was probably one of his wet dreams.
I definitely wasn't.
Every society would have to have. I kind of agree, Bob, as well. We'd have to stop throwing rocks at each other before they decided to make first contact, or they'd have to be enough of us to be like, okay, now is a good moment, because as soon as they made contact, if there weren't enough intelligent people, Anyway, I don't want to say it. It's not nice. But
can we just hope and pray that aliens understand what movies are? Because if they don't understand what movies are, they must be looking at us going, we are never making contact with these guys. We have done some awful things. We've done some awful things in reality too, but specifically the aliens.
I think that regardless, if they are an advanced species, they would, as the first admission to anybody who has any degree of wisdom is that they are not the penultimate anything. So the idea that religion would exist in an advanced society, or not religion, but a thought system at the very least that would show them some degree of, well, there has to be more. Because Einstein, Newton, all of them were all like, there's more. There has to be more. What do I call this? What mathematics prove this, So I think that all enlightened species would have that. But I'll be real with you. If we do meet aliens, more than likely they've got a military guy kind of pushing it a little bit. And he might be very much like, burn them down. And I'm a little worried that, I think the answer to the theory part, we've actually actively still too dumb. Nah, JLS, I don't think we're actually that dumb. I think we've passed a few of the great filters. I really think so.
Well, look, I don't know. I don't know.
Where I can't remember what it is, but the Asgardians basically saying they're too stupid, like they're too intelligent to think of dumb solutions. It was the Asgardians, right? And they needed humans.
No, the Asgardians were the little gray alien guys,
right? And they were talking to the team, and they were like, "Well, our brains have evolved beyond the point of thinking on that level." And
that's right.
Did you just say that you're too smart to be this dumb?
That's what I love about that show. It's just like it's just like, oh, like modernism, like just like reality meets like science fiction, like.
And they're not afraid
all
to
this
say
into-
that we're
yeah.
basic, and technology is far more advanced than what we could do, right?
Yeah, exactly. We're just
And I think
through the
that
wormhole.
putting us out there as not the smartest thing in the universe makes it more relatable in Stargate. Whereas Star Trek, it's kind of like everyone's kind of on equal technological.
Yeah.
I want to share a personal story real quick. I won't go too much into it, but it's got to do with a little bit to do with religion, a little bit to do with aliens, a little bit to do with the afterlife. And so when I was a kid, my granddad used to read us Bible stories, but he didn't read them from the Bible. And he had a Bible, and he would carry his Bible with him. But he read us Bible stories from children's books. So they had pictures and illustrations, and didn't try to push religious messages onto us, but tried to give us good messages that are from the Bible. So I'll use, for example, David and Goliath. That's a great story about, if nothing more, it's a great story about rising up against bullies. And it doesn't matter how big something is, you can overcome it with courage. And then you've got the story of Noah's Ark, which I always took away as a kid of look after your planet. If you don't, other forces will come along and take care of you. And I know that's not the all-in-all message of that, but that's what I took away from that message, right? Is look after your planet, look after your people, look after your animals. And another one was, there was a story about Adam and Eve, which was when I was younger, was my message coming away from that was be cautious with who you trust. And also when you to seek knowledge, be careful of what you find and what sorts of information you're getting it from. And so I didn't really take a lot of religious aspects out of it, but I think I got some good messages from it, right? And then as I got older, the more serious topic of religion came along. Is like, well, I believe, as my grandfather would say, I believe that there is an afterlife. I believe in Jesus and heaven and hell and the devil, and believes in all of it, right? And I was like, why would you believe in the devil if the devil is evil? And he goes, well, I accept that Jesus is my Lord and Savior, and I believe that he went in and battled for us to bring us out of hell or whatever. I do not know enough about the Bible to quote it correctly, and I'm not as smart as my grandfather was in order to quote him correctly, but it was a lot more thoughtful than I'm putting it now. And so I went into my very early teenage years with the belief of the afterlife and the belief of Jesus and God. And so we used to go to church every Sunday, and I would sing the songs, and I would be bored like every other kid until you got to the fun stuff. But it was an interesting experience going to church, because it was where we were a very there was a hierarchy in this church, and we always felt like we were lesser people when we went there, and it wasn't very they didn't accept us and a lot of other people, not just us as a family, but just a lot of other people that tried to go there weren't accepted. And then I started to think, as I got older, I was like, well, if these people aren't accepting and their whole thing is acceptance, well, then why are we even bothering to go there? And then after that,
Uh-oh.
The dude is now coming to the bloody conclusion. Man, what is this cliffhanger nonsense? This Australian internet being upside down. Let's give him a minute.
I thought it was me at first.
You disconnect the man, boy, guys. Was that one way?
I don't know. I didn't do that. I don't know what to do now.
I do.
Who's that?
There are people dying. Sorry.
We are the world.
We are the world. We are the
Oh my
children.
god. That's a good song anyway.
It is a good song. There's no reason to lie. You know the rules, and so do I. Anyway,
Just got rickrolled.
yeah.
What do you think? What do you think? What do you think about Joe Fan 84's idea of just giving the aliens tacos and they'll just share everything
If it's
with
from
us?
Taco Bell, they'll declare war as soon as they
Yeah,
get
no
it.
shit.
We can't
Gotta
do that.
make them. Gotta hand make them.
I will say this about religion though, and going to church and stuff. You can't really judge. As I said, it's just such an interesting thing because every time you go to church, no matter what church it's been, there's always people who think that they are holier than thou, and they utilize information and their religion and their position to think that they're better than. And I think that's, as I said, human concupiscence is always something you can kind of count on. You know, even in myself, I need to be worried that I sound like a friggin' preacher. You know, so. The only thing that's really consistent and the thing that we can really kind of trust is action, right? So if a human is really putting it forward and trying to be really good, and like, I mean, what else are you supposed to trust other than that? Yeah, you can only trust what you see. I mean, and you have every right to be suspicious. I don't think it's right for anybody to be forced to believe any kind of religious anything. I think that any religion that forces a belief system on anybody. He's in the chat. As I said, I think that any religion that forces anybody to be and act a certain way, and who tells you are wrong if you are that way, because Jesus was never like that. If they came to him with questions, he would reason with them and talk and answer, because in essence, even if you don't believe he was the Son of God, he was a wise man, and he had good things to say. The only people who really decided to nail him to a tree were the people who couldn't handle the truth. And that's because they couldn't outsmart him, and they didn't want to change the way that they were thinking. But you'll find that's, as I said, from a history perspective, that's how it's been everywhere. As soon as someone comes up with something that sounds better and that equalizes everybody, they want to kill them. And you're right, churches is trying to put you down, Zaz.
Trying to put you down. Vatican's like, silence that Australian.
Yeah, cut him off. Quick,
this heresy?
We tolerated your alien talk. Now stop.
Message received. The Pope called me just then. It's like, you got to just cut it out with that stuff, man. I was like, all right, fair enough.
Well, if the Vatican's listening, hey, listen, Pope, if you want to come on and chat with us, doors open.
I would, if the Pope
Things happen for a reason.
If the Pope came on this stream and spoke to the three of us, that viewership count would go through the roof. But more than that, I know people who live around me, who speak to me regularly. They're gonna start to treat me like I'm Jesus. You spoke to the Pope on the stream. I just hope the Pope laughs at some of my jokes and sings along with us. You know,
you can see the three of us standing in the Vatican balcony.
Drinking wine.
I got you this Sergeant Slaughter. Anyway. What Beta Ray, what Bob said there is true. My Father, our Lord in heaven. I think the disciples asked Jesus, "What are the most important commandments?" And he said, love God and love your neighbor. Love God is the most important commandment. And to you I give a new one: love your neighbor as you would love yourself. Those are the two most important, and I'll tell you why. Which is, I said this already during the talk. Number one, we learn more about ourselves through interactions with other people. So therefore, love your neighbor, and you learn more about yourself, and love God, because this interaction, it brings you virtue and wisdom and all these sorts of things. And we have an obligation to be the best version of ourselves, because if every single person on the face of the planet was to be the best version of themselves, those aliens would make contact with us like immediately. They'd be like, yo, I saw that you guys started to treat the worst and the weakest amongst you as equals, and we know now that when you enter into the realm of this intergalactic community, when we give you your intergalactic car, when you find other races outside there, you're going to treat them with that same level of justice, that same level of peace, and that same level of wisdom that we will now treat you. And that would be fantastic.
As long as they don't get mad at me for blasting Van Halen and Huey Lewis out my windows, I'm cool with it.
They're already up there, they're already invited. There's no way Huey Lewis doesn't already have his gateway card.
No shit.
God has all the good music up there, not almost all of it. So He's jamming with Michael Jackson right now. You know?
Are we talking about I thought we were talking about aliens, not
We
afterlife.
were. We just
Okay.
did.
Well,
No. But I mean, when we're talking
yeah.
about music and Gaz, were you referencing your hope that the aliens don't mind you blasting it, or the afterlife?
I was like me pulling up to like Alpha Centauri. No, looking at me as I'm singing "Jump."
Yeah.
I'm like, yo. I'm just
Once
saying,
it's not like once you're a puppy, like OPP, yeah,
you know me.
I'm talking that synthesizer solo. Din, din, din.
So once again,
Like I'm driving in my alien IROC. My
Nice.
IROC T-tops open. Yeah, let's go.
all of these conversations to me are always a matter of linguistics, right? It's like, are aliens out there? And then we look at the word alien, that which is alien, that which is foreign, that which is different, that which is not us, which y'all can be alien to me with that, in that respect. It's not all just extraterrestrial, because extraterrestrial means not of Earth. Alien and extraterrestrial go hand in hand. So all of this, the foreign nature of religion and thought processes and how we interact with each other and how we'd interact on an intergalactic scale, all these things are interrelated, because every wise man in every society, eventually, if they delve deep enough into their own ass, they realize that everything is cyclical and everything is connected. And my head is so far up my own ass that I do realize that it's all cyclical. It really is cyclical. Oh, right. And JLS is right. And interdimensional, because we did establish earlier that if they figure out the dimensional problem, they'd be able to travel way quicker. And I just think it will happen. I hope that I get to see 0.0001% of it, and then I'll feel way more hopeful for my kids, because if the future is really just dumb AI videos and BS, I'm gonna have to go off the grid with my kids, because I don't want them to grow up thinking that's the future.
Well, Hanz, can I just say, I'm glad that you brought it up, because I think that if we were sitting together, we wouldn't be able to do it. But if we were sitting together in person as children, right, when we were like, I don't know, 8, 9, or 10, going, could you imagine the future where we can talk together on different parts of the world over a video screen, like only our sci-fi movie showed us, right? That was all fantasy when we were kids, and now we're literally doing it. 3 different parts of the world, talking to people from different parts of the world in the chat.
If this is like the 80s, you know what the phone bill would be right now?
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying right now. That's all I'm saying.
You're absolutely right, Gaz. You're absolutely
Now
right.
we could do this. So we're in the future right now. And
I wouldn't be surprised, Hanz, if in your lifetime you see something truly, truly, truly remarkable. Not that we haven't already been able to, but I think that I have faith that we will in our lifetime see something.
We have seen something truly remarkable. We have. And AI created it by one man's tinkering around AI, and that's this.
Guys, come on! Look,
raise your hand if you want to see an animated series with these 2 guys right here.
Now, to be fair, I would have much preferred a Hanz Chow original. Let me just bring that up real quick so I can talk about it. Right, I would much prefer a Hanz Chow original than this AI piece of art.
I just want to know who this guy in the middle is. Is that me?
Yeah, that's you.
It doesn't have blue eyes.
Well, I can't control everything that happens.
And I think it's way too handsome. I don't think I look that way.
I think you're more handsome, if anything. Also, Hanz's hair is shorter.
And I think I'm taller than you too.
Yeah, all right, mate. Look, let me just say, it's not to scale. All right, it's not to scale.
But I want to see an animated series with those 3. And a Hanz original as well. Yes.
Good. I can't wait to see. Yeah, I would have much preferred a Hanz original to AI. But the way I use AI is, and even if you Google now, the first thing it does is give you an AI answer.
Yeah,
sure. But the way I use Google now is, I mean, not Google. Well, Google technically too. But the way I use AI now is, and I don't often use AI as a thumbnail, but I thought this one called for.
No, this is superb. when I saw that, I just started laughing. I said to my friend, I'm like, this is great.
Right. Well, next time I'll tell it, make sure you make Gazz taller and make Gazz have blue eyes. And that was it. And give Hanz shorter hair. But they were originally hand-drawn pictures by Adam. And
and
then I just put that into AI. But every so often, like if I'm writing a script out for the Slaughterhouse Wrestling Championship, right? Because I'm one person with one voice, I'm like, oh man, how would a different character, let's say, who have I used so far? Let's say E Honda, for instance, right? I'll go to AI and I'll go, now he wouldn't say g'day, mate. What would he say? And then AI will come back with, well, the traditional way that a sumo might greet somebody would be with this phrase. And I'm like, perfect. And so I think as a source of, I mean, and again, what's anything other than fact, right? Even Google is probably full of inaccuracies, and I'm sure AI is full of inaccuracies, but I don't have all the answers, and so sometimes I go looking for them, and I'll ask AI, say, hey, how would they say this? What in their language would they say? And that's
an acceptable form of AI to me. Yeah.
So
I guess, right? Is it though, or like how else would I know?
One of my good friends is a theoretical mathematician. He is incredibly intelligent, and he uses AI. And he said AI is one of those. He said number one, it's a tool. So it is going to make everybody who is intelligent smarter, but it is unfortunately, the counterpoint is going to make those who are lazy worse. Yeah, because it's going to provide it. So if you don't know, and you're actively utilizing AI to make yourself better, or educate yourself, or assist you in a process that would be an absolute slog, you're using it the way that it's supposed to be used. But if you're like, well, utilizing AI to do something ridiculous, and as a teacher, I can tell you when AI came out, when ChatGPT came out, the number of ChatGPT generated essays I received was ridiculous. And I knew it immediately because these guys are not that intelligent to be writing this sort of business. Yeah. So the question is not whether AI is good or bad, but rather the human using it is good or bad. And once again, it's cyclical. The study of self. If you are a good person and your objective is pure and like purely self-improvement oriented, you're going to use AI for the right things. And in that point, AI is great. But if you are lazy, you don't generate the thoughts yourself, then you're going to use AI not as artificial intelligence, but rather as SI, which is substitute intelligence. And it's never going to be perfect. Yeah.
Right.
Once again, there's nothing that's inherently evil. I mean, I go the Jane Austen route, which is simply that even people aren't that wicked. It's just that there are situations that force people to act a certain way or do a certain thing or say a certain thing that many will perceive as evil. So no, I don't think AI is wicked, but I do think that the humans are the future. We have to be the future. The future has to be human. Yeah?
Gazz, given an opportunity, would you prefer to jump through a Stargate or would you prefer to use the teleportation device that Star Trek?
I think I've already answered that question.
Yeah, but if you had a choice,
I'd rather jump through a Stargate because I don't feel like actually, I think both do almost the same thing. They like your body gets taken apart at an atomic level.
Does it? I thought a Stargate you just walk through goop.
No, I think it sometimes you put together and no, actually, I think I have to agree with McCoy. I don't like teleporters because I feel like you're just a duplicate coming out the other side.
So yeah, I think in my I don't know the truth, but hey, Will, how are you, buddy? Looking forward to seeing you again at Joe Fest next year. So I think I always thought, and I don't know enough about Stargate, but I always thought it was just a door that opened instantaneously from point A to point B. Whereas the teleportation, and I don't know, I could be wrong there.
I feel like the way they portrayed it in the movie, like you kind of like you're like taken apart and then shot through the wormhole, and I think it's more of like a stretch thing where you just shoot into like going into a black hole.
Gaz, now I'm not one to not want to right a wrong, right? So if you check your messages, you'll see that I have righted the biggest wrong. If you want to check that image that I just sent you, you can show it up on the screen if you like, or you can keep it private.
I think you made me too big.
No, throw it up. Let's see it. I want to be known that I use AI for good, not for evil.
I think I'm too big now.
No, that's accurate.
No.
Blue eyes and
no.
Love
I
it.
need to be shorter. I need to be shorter.
Just be happy, man. All right.
I am happy. I love this image. I want to see more of this. I don't want to see.
That would be a great show.
interpretation of this. Yeah.
Hanz has to animate it.
What the?
Yeah, man. This is it. This is the big break. We're gonna become billionaires. We're gonna create. We're gonna create the STS comic book.
So it dephases you and rephases at the other side. What does dephase mean, though? It's like it just makes you spaghetti until you get to...
Doesn't it beam your particles? Isn't that what
Well,
it
that's a
is?
transporter. Does it? It takes you apart at a subatomic level and then
Yeah,
puts back together.
That's why shields work, because if the shields actually block the particles from going through.
I think McCoy. I don't know. I the way I look at it is like, is it you on the other side, or is it a duplicate of you and you are no longer exist?
Oh, jeez, no, we're not
right.
doing
That's what I'm talking about. We're through a wormhole. I believe it's for like a spaghetti effect. You get pulled through.
Right.
So it's supposed to be almost instantaneously. Like you put your hand through, you're on the other side. But when you go in, you feel it, and then you're out on the other side.
What about the back rooms? Will, have you seen the O-Ring Heroes, the wrestling figures that have just been pre-ordered today? If you haven't, check them out. I'd love to do a chat with you about those.
Oh, we got to get Will on. We got to talk O-rings.
Well, next week's show, we are talking about the O-Ring Heroes, and we're going to have some special guests on with us. So I'm hoping to bring on some buddies to also chat. I'm trying to line up a few people. Hopefully it all comes together. So it's we'll see how we go. Now, here we go. So Stargate, it dematerializes an object at the atomic level upon entry and buffers it until the entire traveler enters the event horizon. Again, no.
Yeah. Look at it this way. Yeah. Okay. Like in Star Trek, you see the person just like disappear.
Yeah.
In front of you, right? You get that little static effect, and they're gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, with Stargate, it looks like a pool of water. You just diving into a pool of water and then get shot at the other end.
So yeah, I just want. I'm glad they went with a Stargate instead of a giant space. What's a trebuchet?
Trebuchet.
That's what I said.
You said that is not what you said.
It's a different dialect, Hanz, here in Australia.
I'm sorry.
One man's trebuchet is another man's trebuchet. All right. That was the official Stargate explanation. All right. So now we've seen in Star Trek it go horribly wrong. Have we seen in Stargate the same thing?
Yeah, because you put an object in front of it, you dematerialize, and you're nothing. That's why they have the iris in the.
Of course.
Yeah.
No, you're right. Yeah.
And then when they say bury it, you can't transmit. Whatever transmits like a solid object.
Gotcha.
Doesn't
Second
work.
active Stargate. Yep. So, I mean, how do you even create that technology? It's like when you build a phone. Like the first man made a phone. I guess I better make a second.
How do you create it? The ancients did.
Oh yeah, true. That's right. I need to go back and watch some more Stargate.
Stargate, I think is probably the most brilliant modern sci-fi story. I think totally.
Well, Josh knows all about it. We have to bring Josh onto a Stargate.
Oh
stream.
yeah, Stargate.
I can't believe someone threw out their Stargate DVDs in my local trash.
Who, you?
No, I didn't throw them out. I just
I
not me.
I thought we were friends. What's going on?
I would never do that to you. Wormhole generator creates an artificial stable wormhole through hyperspace connecting two physical ring addresses. Sounds like someone's online dating profile. Let's create an artificial stable wormhole.
I think that one is actually the most practical one because it's the one that the particle disassembly and reassembly is like, that's really, really complicated. That's how Doom went sideways, you know? So
Doom went sideways? Dude, that's when the Fly went sideways.
That's right. Yeah, even before Doom, the Fly went sideways. I feel like wormhole generation how it usually works. At least I've seen it repeated the most, and I will always quote like Wing Commander, is they find jump points where there are wormholes and they know where it comes out, and that's what they use. There's a beacon on one side, a beacon on the other side. You lock onto the far beacon and you mathematically spaghettify and you reach the other side, you know?
Yeah, because if you don't know where it ends up, you're going to be like John Crichton.
Yeah.
Stuck on the other side of the universe in a living prison ship with some alien dudes and try to figure out what's going on. You just turn into like White Earth.
Isn't that what happened to? I can't remember. How did Flash get over there? Flash Gordon.
Flash took a rocket to Mongo because Mongo was going to crash into Earth.
Right. I remember.
Well, actually passed by Earth, and Ming was messing with our planet and going to destroy it.
Right. I couldn't remember how we got there. I'm thinking about this Native American guy, John Blackstar. Is John Blackstar?
John Blackstar? I think that was. I think that's.
And
I'll confirm it.
But he went into he was in a spaceship. The NASA launched him into space. He ended up in a wormhole and ended up in a different universe because once again it wasn't point plotted. I think it's Blackstar. I'm not sure.
Blackstar, 1981 sci-fi fantasy television series. It follows John Blackstar, an astronaut who travels through a black hole to a distant planet named Cigar. Yeah. That sounds like a good show. I'm going to start watching.
I'll
check it out.
I don't know if it stands up, but give it.
It's similar to Buck Rogers, like the original Buck Rogers. The original story, he gets caught in a mine, a cave that has some sort of gas in it that
Hanz disagrees, strongly disagrees.
Mars Cave is a great show, but
Hanz doesn't know what he's on about.
Yeah. And then he gets stuck in the cave and he wakes up like 500 years later and he's preserved by this gas. And then the updated version from the 79-80, he's on Ranger 1 and he's orbiting the Earth, the furthest point of the solar system, like way out past Pluto. And it takes him 500 years to go around and he's frozen in space. And when he comes back, Earth has had massive like wars and stuff. And now there's an alien race trying to take over, or actually alien civilization.
That's fine. War is such an interesting concept to me because when I was in the army and like I also fought in a lot of like martial arts tournaments and stuff, like I've been punched in the face an awful lot. I can't imagine anybody who's been punched in the face wanting to go to war. No. So the idea is always like violence is inherent in intelligent species. It has to happen, right? It's how we do some things. But the idea of one person's pride fueling a war where hundreds of thousands, or in some cases millions, would go to war over this one person's concept of that which is right and wrong. Mm-hmm. Like if you think of the level of groupthink involved in there. So let me tell you something interesting. During joint exercises with the American military and with the British military, we, with our primitive third world brains, realized one very different thing. The American military works very much on take your orders and you follow them. It doesn't matter what they are, you do it. And then the British military was very much on take your orders, interpret them, whether they're right or wrong, and then obey as you see fit. You have every right to ask every question, sort of thing. It was more on a little more independence with regards to how you were supposed to act, yeah? And I always find like soldiers aren't cogs in a machine, they're individuals. And I think that every soldier has every right to constantly question whether their orders the orders they receive are the right thing given the tactical situation that they're in. Because the person sending the orders can say, well, take Hill 31. Okay, fine. Okay, but I need you to take this path to take Hill 31. It's like, this is...
Hey, Ronnie. G'day, mate.
This path that you've plotted out is not practical. There are landmines, there's snipers, there's all sorts of stuff. And then there's two things the CO could do, which is just do it. Or, okay, well, give us a tactical suggestion given your position. You know? So whenever things like Buck Rogers or Mad Max and that sort of thing kind of happens, where you hear about these apocalyptic wars and stuff, the level of destruction that it would take, as well as the level of human kind of submission to the concept of another individual's superior decision-making capabilities, like, to me, that's probably the most fictitious part of all this. Because this, as I said, history, once again, at the end of World War I and at the end of World War II, people were so sick of death and so sick of fighting that the idea of doing it ever again was completely unappealing to all parties involved. So I really hope, because in modern day education, they really do kind of suppress the history syllabus and it's not really treated like a serious subject, but I really do hope that kids and the future generations are smart enough to understand that war is not anything glorious. And if you doubt that, go and get punched in the face and then imagine what being shot would be like. You know, it's you don't need.
So you're saying the answer to being as handsome as Hanz Chow is repeatedly getting punched in the face, because it's done you absolutely no damage.
What the hell?
So the intellect, the brain will get rattled, the face will get restructured, and you'll end up with Hanz Chow level mentality and
looks
perfect.
Listen,
Write down, Gaz.
I
Joe
stopped-
Fest, punch each other in the face.
Joe Fest punched in the face
I
multiple
stopped-
times.
I stopped when I learned every time you got punched in the head, you lose 100 brain cells, and eventually the brain cells stop coming back. At that point, I realized time to stop.
So how many punches in the face was it?
Can we get a tally?
I don't know, man.
So I
realized I didn't want it anymore.
want to bring it back to a comment. Somebody brought up Battlestar Galactica. I think that is probably like the two biggest sci-fi franchises from that era, is the 70s. I'm not talking about the remake version. I'm talking about the original, right? It was Star Wars and that. To me, I think Battlestar is better, right? Because it's more of a reflection of our society than Star Wars was or ever will be, especially now with AI, right?
Well, I don't think Star Wars ever tried to be human.
I just think it's more closer to home than the other one was. You know,
yeah, absolutely.
And that truly is a great series. If you haven't seen it, I don't know what you've been doing most of your life. You should go watch it, and then watch the new one. It's not that bad either.
Well, the thing about Star Wars for me that I like. There you go. See, none of Hanz's name, face, or voice matches as they are. Let's not punch him out. I'm not saying now he's been punched enough, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Anything else would be diminishing returns on Hanz Chow. He's been punched to perfection. I'm just saying I'm a few sledgehammers short of anywhere near Hanz Chow level of anything, intellect or otherwise.
I haven't been punched nearly enough in the face.
Yeah, that's right. We'll work it out between you and I, guys. A couple of beers, a couple of headbutts. We'll make it work. We'll look like Hanz Chow by next Joe Fest.
Do the exercises, get fit, get healthy. That's all I could tell you. Right.
So the thing about, and thanks for the tip, Hanz. The thing about Star Wars for me, which I enjoy, is that I think it is such a departure from what we have as a humanity, is that I'm able to escape into Star Wars, whereas things like Star Trek, Stargate, what was the other one we're talking about? Battlestar. All of those that is a very much a story about the human condition, and in a setting outside of our own. And sometimes I just want to be entertained. You know, I don't want to think about it too much. And I don't hate the prequels. But I think what the prequels did is that they tried to explain too much of what Star Wars was, that it became a little bit convoluted. Like, I don't care. Metachlorians, who cares? Don't worry about it. I don't need them. Just tell me there's a force. I'm in.
Forget about it.
Forget about it. Come on, get out of here.
Sometimes you just need a kaiju to step on it to wake you up to reality. That's all.
Exactly.
Star Wars was best when it didn't owe you an explanation.
Exactly that too. It's like where did all the humans come from? Doesn't matter.
Exactly. It doesn't matter. Just tell me a good story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, boys.
Wizards and sorcery and robots and spaceships. I found out, and I don't know whether I always knew this, because who knows what I know? I don't even know what I know, right? But I found out that the sound of a TIE fighter was an elephant roar mixed with a car driving really fast on a wet road.
What?
Yeah. Look it up.
I also think like Godzilla's roar was a rusty gate or something.
Yeah,
like
it's Toho's. It's the gate that goes into Toho's like Toho building.
Their building.
The main gate. Yeah.
There's a lot of those little like sound design. See those guys at Foley and stuff like that? They on a different level.
So John Wayne is in Star Wars, which we found out, didn't we, Gaz?
What?
Yeah, they. Oh, okay. So the long snoot guy, what's his name? Gargadan or something? Garadan. That's his voice. Is John Wayne's voice sped up?
Oh my gosh.
So John Wayne is officially in Star Wars.
It's nonsense.
We are exploring Mars with the rovers, and that helicopter was cool. I missed.
Okay. So this is, what would you say? You say was an elephant's roar mixing with a car speeding by?
Yeah, TIE fighter. Yeah.
I guess I can't hear it, right?
I can hear it.
Maybe.
If I made that up, then
I'm just trying to hear it. I'm trying to hear the elephant roar. I can hear the car.
Just look up elephant roar.
It's true.
Don't look up TIE fighter sound. You know what a TIE fighter sounds like.
I just wanted to hear it. Okay, hold on.
And then the sound of a car going past on a wet road mixed with an elephant's roar.
There's videos here for like 10 minutes. I don't need to hear 10-minute video.
10 minutes of elephant roar.
Yeah, this is probably the shortest one. This is 16 minutes.
Next week on our Shoot the Shit stream, we'll be listening to elephant roars.
This is an elephant roaring. Hold on. I don't hear one.
Does it sound like
they're in the water?
Like that, yeah, but louder.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, I kind of with Ronnie. I think they've trumped.
Yeah, well, it depends. I don't sneeze from my mouth, so I can make two different sounds. I can cough through the mouth and sneeze through the nose. I'm sure lots of sounds come from different places. I mean, where's an elephant? Just trust me.
I believe you. I believe you.
Trust me, it's there. I'd look it up, but then I would. It's just me trying to prove myself right. So there's no.
Yeah, the burden of evidence falls on him. Come on, you're the one with the doubting mind. Find your evidence. Anyway.
Find my evidence?
No, him.
Yeah,
he's doubting it. Anyway, bottom line is this has been a very interesting conversation.
Now that's just a trumpet. I can't find it because it's a roar. Sorry.
Let me look.
I'm looking for it. It's sound. Here's an elephant roar sound effect.
You want elephant roar?
I got it right here.
Is this what we're doing? We're live. People are looking at us.
This is the beauty of the show.
No, it's not.
Do it again. Listen. That doesn't sound like a TIE fighter. I'm sorry. No, it doesn't.
That doesn't sound like a TIE fighter. Of course it does.
No, it does not. Hold on. It does not. It does not sound like a TIE fighter. No, it doesn't.
You hang out?
Yes, it does.
No, it doesn't. This is a TIE fighter. This is a TIE fighter. Now play the other one. Now play the other one.
I couldn't even hear the TIE fighter.
Hold on a second. Jesus. I guess I could kind of hear that roar in there. I guess so.
Gazz and Hanz shoot the shit.
Something more.
What about the bridge door sound effect? Yeah, where'd that one come from? 2 hours and 20 minutes in, and we're debating whether or not an elephant made the sound of a TIE fighter.
Oh man, I was more amazed that they made the sound for the blasters by hitting a tension cable for like a power pole.
I thought it was a big metal sheet. They were kind of blah, 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 you
No,
know.
no, they took a hammer and they you know those massive electrical towers and a string along.
Yeah,
It's one of those, and they just hit a hammer on a tension cable that's holding them steady.
right. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought so. They kind of, you know.
All right,
Sound
What
effects.
have we come to? What are we talking about?
let's call it there. Thanks to everyone in the chat for hanging out with us. It turned into a shoot the shit. What does a TIE fighter sound like? We'll be back next week to debate it even further while I come up with 10 different elephant sounds. You pick which one they use for the TIE fighter.
I'm still saying it's BS, man. No,
Look, I don't know. We also need to get the sound of a car going by on a wet road and combine them, right?
Oh, yeah, not easy to find. All right, now
We're also going to find the sound effect they use from John Wayne and speed that up to see if that sounds right too.
I wonder if that's available. Let's find out.
We're almost gone, Hans. Now we're waiting for John Wayne lines. All right, we're gonna find these John Wayne lines first, and then we're gonna get out of here because the people want to know what were the lines they used in Star Wars for John Wayne. This is what Shoot the Shit is all about.
It's the things we really want to know.
That's right. And we're big John Wayne fans.
Okay, so it's discarded dialogue lines from
ChatGPT, dude.
That's the remark of the day.
I don't know if John Wayne has hidden cameo.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's this. I don't want to play it and then hold on. Let me just mute my mic. Make sure.
Just we couldn't hear it anyway when you played your TIE fighter sounds. Gazz will give us his best John Wayne impression.
How's it going, Pilgrim?
This is John Wayne at the first Thanksgiving.
Funny enough, the first John Wayne movie I ever saw was not actually a Western.
Really?
Yeah,
Green Beret.
It was Shores of Iwo Jima.
Oh, yes. I like most John Wayne movies, but I prefer the Westerns. Like Green Beret was a great movie. I like that.
I like
the one where he's
I like the war ones more.
the one where he's a cop. McGonagall. No.
Yeah.
McGonagall?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, which one was it?
Where he's a policeman. I don't know. I can't remember.
Is that the one where he goes to England?
No, that's a different one. That's if it is, I'm getting too mixed up then.
I remember
Gone with the Wind.
There it is.
He's in that?
No.
That's Hans wanting to just go already. All right. We'll call it there. We'll be back next week talking about Ring Heroes.
Brannigan.
Mr. Q, thank you. Nowhere Man Child finally glided in with some knowledge.
There you go. That's
appreciate
that one.
And Nowhere Man Child just put up a review for all of the new Recall figures, so go look it up on his YouTube channel.
You got it. Recall. Which one's your favorite? Let us know.
Bengal.
I'll go and check it out. I'll go watch it. I'll go watch it right now. Nowhere Man Child.
Bengal.
I'll go watch it right now.
I have a weakness for Indian women. I married one. You're welcome, bro.
All right. We're out of here. We'll be back next week and in greater numbers. Goodbye.
Hey man, no strangers here. These times I hold them dear. Doors open, so come on in. Yeah, that was great. Let's do it again.
franchise